Welcome to the Redirect Podcast. My name is Abigail Hewins.
And I'm Emily Rojas. The Redirect Podcast is a show where we shift the conversation back to books. We discuss themes from some of our favorite books and how those themes show up in real lived experiences.
On today's episode, we're just catching up about all things books and reading.
But first, if you've been enjoying our podcast, we would like to humbly ask that you support us in a few simple ways. You can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and let us know how much you love our show.
We'd also love for you to follow us on Instagram at Redirect Podcast. And finally, if you really, really like the show, we'd love for you to share it with a friend. As we say every episode, sharing our podcast with a friend is the best way to help us grow our community of book-loving nerds.
And welcome.
Welcome. Emily, our book talk.
Abigail, welcome. So much to talk about.
I know.
Much I've been dying to talk about with you.
We needed to do this episode because, first of all, it's like the end of Q2.
Yeah.
And we just have a lot of book-related stuff we've been saving from talking about on the side so that we could talk about here and just catch up on our recent reads, things we're looking forward to.
Yeah. Check-in episode, if you will.
Yeah. The first big thing we need to talk about is the Song of Achilles.
Okay, thank God, because I have been dying to discuss this with you, and I have been putting it off because I knew we were going to talk about it today, but I need to talk about it.
I'm like honestly, talking about it right now, first of all, just having the access to this conversation feels like a physical weight off my body because it's literally been weeks that we've been holding this.
Yes.
But also, it's like bringing tears to my eyes because I'm starting to think about how much I loved this book and how emotional it was.
So true. Yes.
Oh, okay. So for those who don't know, Emily, in just a couple sentences, like, what is the Song of Achilles?
Okay, so the Song of Achilles is essentially a retelling of parts of the legend of Achilles, but from the view of his beloved, and they were roommates, good friend, wink, wink, Patroclus. History will say they were roommates.
Roommates. What is it? Roommates, best friends, anything but lovers. History hates lovers.
Exactly. So this is obviously a romantic retelling of their deep friendship and how they fall in love. And it of course ends very tragically with the death of Patroclus and eventually the death of Achilles, which is documented in the Iliad. So, and, other legends throughout history, but so that's what the Song of Achilles is. It's a very famous book. I feel like we are behind the times on reading this one.
It is like...
I've seen it everywhere for years, but I just never read it.
Yes. Yes. The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Madeline Miller. She also wrote Circe, which is another really popular one that I feel like I've got to read next. Just because
I know.
This one
was so good.
But... So question for you. Yeah, both of us have just been wildly behind the times. Like, this is definitely not a hot take that the book is good. Why do you think it took you so long to read it? Like, it's been on your TBR for a long time, right?
Yeah, I bought the physical book at McKay's, a used bookstore near me a while ago, months ago probably. And first of all, it's really hard for me to get through my physical TBR because I put way too many books on hold on Libby, and then you only have 2 weeks to read it, and then you feel the pressure. So really, that's part one, is that my physical books they take a while for me to get to.
Right.
And number two is I don't read a lot of men love stories, men on men, because normally I'm like, oh, I want a lady in here. You know what I mean? Like, totally. I like a female protagonist. I like, girl POVs better personally. So it just felt like that's what I was like, it's probably good, but like it wasn't necessarily something I was dying to read for many reasons, but those are definitely the top two.
Well, because you're like, okay, how am I going to relate to this at all? But what I will say is like, this is a romance more of like the epic dramatic sort than like a romance novel tropey sort. This is not, it's like, it's really more of a fantasy than a romance. Yeah. I guess, like, the romance is a big part of it, but it's really more of, like...
And I think it's more about, like, their friendship. Like, for most of the story, they are truly friends with this, like, deep friendship that, like, evolves into love. And I feel like that is more, like, accessible, too, because it's, like... I don't know. It's just like this really lovely but tragic story, but of friends who become lovers, but in the saddest possible way.
Yeah. So they're like soulmates, and it shows the different ways that you can have a soulmate through your life.
Right.
It's this person that is brought into your life kind of through serendipity and like a little bit of magic. And then they are really good friends. And then they're like brothers. They are like classmates. And then they realize that this bond between them is so strong, and it's so strong it has to be expressed in a romantic way. And it's just like, oh my God.
It's such a sweeping book because it starts when they're like 9 or 10 years old. And then the book ends when they're in their 20s. So it is like a decades long story. And I think that's one of the strengths of this book. The pacing of it was so good, in my opinion. It spanned that much amount of time, but it felt like everything was paced really well. And so you didn't feel like any part was kind of glossed over or anything dragged. I felt like those 10 years passed in a way that made a lot of sense, and the development occurred really naturally.
Yeah. And I mean, outside of the romance, there's also a lot there. It's also a war book. I mean, the whole book kind of centers around
like a lot of it.
this big war where all of these people are trying to save Helen from Troy.
Yeah.
Or something. I forget that right. But so people who have ever taken like a Foundations of Western Civilization class, you will have some callbacks here. So there are other big characters from Greek mythology that show up, including like, the big major Olympians, like play kind of tangential roles, but also Odysseus is in it. Thetis, Hector, there are Agamemnon. Like I was like, oh dang,
like,
this is.
I remember this. Yeah.
This is like itching the back of my brain. Like
I know.
It's I filed that away.
Yeah, shout out Dr. Wheel for teaching me about all these guys. Now it's really coming in handy.
Right. So, one question I did have is Achilles toxic? So.
Yes.
So, those who haven't read the book, but maybe like kind of vaguely familiar with Greek mythology, Achilles is a demigod. His mom is the sea nymph Thetis, and his dad is just a human king, but I forget what his name is.
King guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Forget his name. And Patroclus is also the son of a king. He's a prince, but he accidentally kills somebody. And so his dad is like, you're a shame to me. And he banishes him to the kingdom where Achilles lives. And he's just like, kind of like a foster kid. He's not really a prince anymore.
They're kind of like training up an army of young children, which is, complicated.
It's complicated.
They're like, come, send us your orphan boys. We'll teach them how to fight a war in 10 years from now.
Yes, because in this world, you're like a man when you're 16. So these boys are like 11. So they're like right on the cusp. Yeah. Anyway, Achilles kind of has this complex because everyone's like, you're going to be the greatest warrior of all time.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, no, I totally am. And like, I have to live up to this great like prophecy that is on me. And like, it kind of, I don't know. Sometimes I was like, I get it, but also you're being such a douchebag to Patroclus.
Yeah.
Like he just loves you and you're just treating him like garbage.
That's so true.
But at the same time, I ship your relationship. It was confusing.
It's very, I mean, they were just kids. That's what I just tell myself. Like, this is like what we're talking about. And, you know, it's like a 13-year-old boy. Like, and he's been told his whole life he's going to be the greatest warrior of all time, you know, by gods. Like, I think you can understand a little why he was a little toxic.
Yeah. Whatever.
And like, he wasn't really allowed to have, it doesn't seem like he had any friends before Patroclus. Like, he was kept separate. He wasn't allowed to fight in front of any of the other boys. He wasn't allowed to like show off any of his strength. So it's just like complicated, I feel like. Yeah,
totally. And also like, I feel that that's one of the good things about this book is because Madeline Miller, she really like rooted it in the myths. And this is a big part of the myth. And so like that had to inform his character. And if she had left that part out, then it wouldn't be like a sincere adaptation. So.
Yeah, and you have to believe that this is a person who would choose a short life of glory over a long life of anonymity. Like, you have to believe that he is that type of person, that because that's basically, if you don't know, that's what he was kind of the fates foretold, is either you can go into battle and you will be like forever remembered, but you will live a short life, or you can not go and you can live this long life, but no one will remember you. And so you have to buy into the fact that this is that kind of character who would make that decision. Even knowing, like, I'm going to leave Patroclus behind, or like that's what he thinks is going to happen, and or I'm going to die in this war, but it's going to be worth it to have this glory. So I think, he has to be a little toxic. Yeah. A little toxic to make that decision in the first place.
Yeah. And I think everything that we're saying, like, they're all things that I normally wouldn't like in a book. I normally wouldn't be attracted to a book about war or Greek mythology or whatever. And so I think that's maybe why I put it off for so long. So if any of those things seem weird to you, just know there is a lot else in this book. And I feel like what is on the surface a war novel is actually a novel about the human spirit. And I was crying, crying so hard at the end.
The end? It's very, like, I can't.
I need...
And it's like, what's going to happen. Exactly. Like, we took this class. We know what happens. And it's kind of obvious, even if you didn't know anything.
Yeah, it's only going one way.
Like, for a fact Achilles is going to die.
It's a tragedy.
You didn't know that Patroclus is going to die, spoiler alert. But it's going to be a sad ending, but it's still devastating when you get there. And also, God, like, beautiful and like...
Totally. So, obviously it needs to be made into a movie.
That's my question. Why hasn't it been made into a movie yet? This book is exceeding... Like, I've seen it everywhere. It's a fairly old book at this point. Why is there no talks of a movie yet? Why?
This would be a really expensive movie, I think, because they've got to make the war look good.
Right.
And it's got to be on a beach somewhere. I mean, like, there's lots of pieces about, like, why this has to be expensive, but...
And, like, they have to not, like, mess it up. Like, they have to. They have to do it a good job.
I know. They have to. So,
ooh, excuse me. The people who made Peaky Blinders have optioned the Song of Achilles as a miniseries. Okay, that's what I want.
All right, miniseries is fine. Miniseries is fine. So let's cast it.
Okay.
I think
I actually have an idea. It's controversial, but you go first.
Okay. Well, okay, I'm nervous now. I saw a lot of stuff about Timothy Chalamet as Patroclus.
Saw that a lot. Yes.
And I can totally see that. But
here's the problem with all of the actors that I'm going to say, and I agree with Timothy Chalamet would make a good Patroclus, but the problem is, like, they're supposed to be Greek.
Oh.
And the ethnicity thing, but I don't know any I couldn't find any.
Could we just blind cast it?
Yeah, that's what I feel like we're going to go
just
for.
Blind cast
but
it.
I would like the real professionals to do a better job of matching the ethnic origins, the vibes. Mm-hmm. But in my mind, I think the vibe of Timothy Chalamet would make an excellent Patroclus. He would kill it.
Yeah, just kind of like skinny, gangly, but like pretty.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing about Patroclus. Like, he's pretty and he's soft.
Yes.
And he's like soft. He's soft to Achilles strong, which is why I suggested maybe like a Hemsworth. Or no.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I saw... So this can't happen, obviously, because of cannibalism. But I thought a lot of people saying Army Hammer as a callback to Call Me By Your Name for those two, because they already have chemistry.
That's
but obviously,
true, but
we can't
let's not do that.
Okay,
here's mine. And this is because... Okay. I Googled openly LGBTQ actors young.
Perfect. Love that start.
I was just like, let's start there. And then, like, I get your Hemsworth type, and I even think Timothy Chalamet might be a little too old. He can play younger, but this person would have to... I mean, they're barely 20 in this story. Like, for most of the story, they're very young. So there would need to be some children actors for part of it. Like, they would have to age them, have different people playing them. But, and I don't know if this person is a good actor. I have never seen anything he's in. But the vibe of Joshua Bassett.
Oh, that's a really good call.
Because he can look really young, but I think he could also bulk up for the older scenes. Like, he could play a younger teen, but then he could also, you know, bulk up a little more. I'm sure the Marvel guys do it all the time to play the older version of Achilles. And that's just my suggestion. That's the best I could do.
Okay, I like that. I really like that. Did you have anybody for Achilles?
That was my Achilles.
Oh, that was your Achilles. Oh, I thought you were saying that's for Patroclus.
He could do that too, probably. But I think he has a good face, a good jawline. I think if he just bulked a little more, he could be Achilles.
All right. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I saw that more for Patroclus, but I can see it. I also said, so if we not a Hemsworth for Achilles, then maybe Chris Hemsworth for Hector.
I could see that.
Might be good.
I think Chris Hemsworth needs to be in it. He has a face that looks like it's from this timeline, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he plays Thor convincingly because he looks like he could be
a
this
Norse
kind of
god.
ancient Norse god. So I think he needs to be in it for sure.
For me, Thetis, the mother of Achilles, is Angelina Jolie.
You're dead on. There's no one else.
There's literally nobody else who could possibly be her.
Because the thing about Thetis is she kind of is the antagonist. Like, she kind of is.
She's bringing the Maleficent vibe.
Yes.
Gorgeous. Sea nymph.
Absolutely. Yes.
Odysseus, Jason Momoa.
Again, I think you're spot on.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And then Briseis, Zendaya. I did not come up with that on my own, but I saw a fan casting of Zendaya for
I like that.
For Briseis, who was the female companion to Patroclus and
they kind of save
Achilles.
her from a life of sex slavery.
Yeah, and
It's really...
she's like their friend and whatever.
I love all of those. I think you nailed it.
Okay.
But I just want to say this needs to be a movie or I don't care, miniseries. I don't understand how that hasn't happened sooner. But I respect the process and I want it to take its time to be good. That's all.
The dialogue written in this book, like as source material, I mean, I just feel like you are heading for awards like crazy. I mean, it is so good.
Yes. Here's what I don't understand. Why do so many book adaptations suck? And we're going to talk about this in a future episode. But so let's just keep that as a rhetorical question. But I feel like you have this huge fan base of people. And if you just do a good job, people are going to come see it. But I feel like people know it's so easy to mess it up and turn off the audience. If they hear this sucks, they're not going to want to go see the movie because it's like, well, I love the book so much. I'm not going to ruin it. So I just don't understand why it's so problematic to produce a very good, you know, book adaptation. That's all I'll say about that. And we can talk about that in our next episode.
Yeah, we will. Anyways,
so that's a preview.
If they ever do, we will be discussing it deeply.
We will. Maybe a whole month-long, you know, series. If it's a mini-series, we're going to have to...
Yeah, we'll have to recap it.
Obviously, so...
Okay, other book stuff. I just want to say that I have entered my Regency era. I have been reading a bunch of Bridgerton. I've, of course, been reading Lady Sherlock.
Obviously.
I have on my TBR a book called Anna Maria and the Fox. Which is it's like a Regency era with Mexican representation, which it seems really cool. Anyways, I have just been loving like anything that has to do with London society and dance cards and going to balls. It has just been hitting the spot for me.
Well, I don't like those kind of books normally, but I respect that you're in that era.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like it hit a streak for me. And then also when I read A Song of Achilles, it put me a little bit in a Greek mythology era. So I found all the the first 5 Percy Jacksons at my little free library. And I know.
That's kind of incredible.
Yeah. So I started reading the first Percy Jackson and I just missed that when I was a kid. Did you read those growing up?
I do think I know I read them. I don't know that I ever finished the series. Like, I think I read the first couple. I wasn't super into it. I remember I liked them, but I don't know that I ever finished reading them.
I know one of the never mind, edit that part out.
Okay.
Anyways, yes. So Percy Jackson is great, and it's also helping me recall a bunch of stuff about Greek mythology, and it's just delightful. It's like the same feeling as reading Harry Potter. It's kind of like a similar vibe, I think.
Yeah.
So
sometimes it's really nice to go back and read books that are like young adult or, you know, kind of teen. I don't know what you call those, middle grades. It's
yeah.
just so relaxing for the brain sometimes, but sometimes they're really good too. But you know,
Yeah.
you're not like having to think too hard about it either.
Especially in summer. I just feel like it's like a little summer reading nostalgia.
Yes.
Like, what would I read if I was 13 by the pool during Adult Swim?
That's so nice.
While
I
I
would
eat
love to
my
be
grapes.
at the pool right now.
Oh my God.
I know. And your PB&J. My gosh.
Okay, so what have you been reading recently?
Okay, I've actually been reading a lot recently. So I'm just gonna go through a couple of these. The first book that kicked me back, because you know I've talked about it a little. I was kind of on a slump of not reading at all. So I'm like, I just need to read the dumbest possible romance novel to get me back into this. You know, sometimes it's like jump-starting a car. You need to read the stupidest thing you can imagine. So I read The Tourist Attraction, which I guess is part of a series. I won't be continuing it, but it is the most, all I can say is unhinged romance I've ever read. So it follows two characters whose names I've already forgotten, who one of them, the guy, the male protagonist, he lives in Alaska. And despite having a undying, so it's marketed as a grumpy sunshine. He's supposed to be the grumpy. He has this undying hatred for tourists, but he lives in the most touristy part of Alaska in the shadow of a massive resort, like for wealthy people. And he owns a restaurant called the Tourist Trap. But he hates tourists. He refuses to hire anyone to help him at his restaurant, so he's just there by himself. And anyways, he's supposed to be grumpy, but I would call it more manic. He's insane. And then the Sunshine is this little tourist girl who she never went to college, but she works at she's a waitress. So she really has no ties to the small town she lives in. So you can see where this is going. And she has been saving for years to come on this trip to Alaska. And like every little thing starts to go wrong, but he's there and she takes him on all these tourist attractions, but they all go horribly. But he's like, maybe tourists aren't so bad. And they fall in love. And obviously she ends up moving to this town to work at this place because she has absolutely no reason to stay in the small town where she's from. And yeah, it was very unhinged, mediocre. But if you need to kickstart your reading, I actually thought it was pretty good. It was very quick read and it was like kind of cute in a very insane way. But I've always wanted to go to Alaska, kind of. So I think if you want to read more about the tourist attractions up there, you know, maybe that would be a good start.
It's good to just like clear the pipes.
Yes. But on the other hand, I read maybe one of the best romance books I've ever read, per your recommendation, Get a Life, Chloe Brown.
Yes.
It was so, you were not overselling this. It was genuinely the perfect romance. Like, I really believe that. It had everything you want. It was the perfect male lead, the perfect female lead. You really liked them both. I don't know. It was the perfect, like, Eric's phone is connected to this thing, so now he's getting and it's making this dinging noise, but I don't know how to turn that off. Anyways, rewind. It was the perfect rom-com. That's all I can say.
It's great.
And now I can't wait to read the rest of the series.
Oh my God. Well, if you love the first one, I think that Take a Hint, Danny Brown is even better, the second one.
Yes.
I actually felt like a sense of loss after I finished the three of them. She wrote a lot. Talia Hibbert has written a bunch of other stuff. So there's other stuff out there for me to read, and I will. But I was really sad when the Brown sisters were over. When I finished them, I was like, why can't there be like a secret fourth sister? But oh my God, Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I also felt like it's one of those books, and I talked about it already on 2 episodes, so I will keep this brief. But it is like, I felt like it's a romance book that was delightful and perfect in every way, but I also learned something. And I also like expanded my perspective about like living with chronic illness. So I like when a silly little book like that also helps you learn something about something you didn't already know and like what it's like to live like that. So
and what I liked is obviously the author herself like has some of these, like you said, she struggles with chronic illness and puts her own self into the book.
Mm-hmm.
So that I think helps. But also it felt like it was a meaningful part of the story and not just, you know, a trope to check off or something like
Totally.
that. I think it helps, obviously, that the author is putting her own lived experiences in the book. That's always going to make it feel more real. But it felt like this is part of it. Like, this story makes sense for her identity to be in it, and it's part of it instead of being, you know, a woe is me thing. It wasn't like that, or it wasn't just a random thing to check off that you put some diversity into a book. It was a really intentional and meaningful part of the story. So I really liked that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I struggle to like describe that balance sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
about like, okay, why in some books, cough, cough, Allie Hazelwood, a lot of times, does it feel like you just like, we're like, oh, diversity sprinkle.
Yes.
But then didn't like meaningfully live up to it or like meaningfully represent it. And the Brown Sisters books are not like that at all.
Yes. So I can't wait to read the rest of the series.
Yay,
For sure.
I'm so glad my recommendation worked. I'm so happy.
I know. And then another we're going middle romance. And then that'll wrap it up, I guess.
Talk as long as you
I've
want.
been reading a lot. You're right. Who cares? This is our
Whatever.
podcast.
Take your time.
So this was my middle romance, which I am conflicted by, and it was One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Have you ever read this book?
No, but I know that it's being adapted into a TV show by
It
her
was a
husband.
Movie? Oh. It got horrible reviews.
Oh, wait. He made it into a movie already?
It has already come out.
Oh, okay. So her husband is a screenwriter, and I'm pretty sure he's the one who did it. And it got terrible reviews. Okay.
It is like 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, I think. I don't remember exactly because I put this book on hold when I saw the preview for the movie because I thought, oh, I really would love to read that book before the movie comes out. I probably want to see this movie. I think it went straight to Prime Video. It didn't come out in theaters, but it did get horrible reviews, so I'm not sure. And I didn't love the book, so I'm not sure if I'm going to watch it now. This was my least favorite TJR. That's what I'll say.
Is this the first Taylor Jenkins Reid you've read outside of the Mick Riva universe?
I suppose, yes.
I think that might be part of it. I'm kind of nervous to branch out from the Mick Riva universe.
I think she's definitely, to me, a straight rom-com is probably not her strongest. And there was a good portion of this book that was written... So I'll tell you this. Do you mind being spoiled on this? Because that heavily influences my review. Okay. So
spoilers ahead.
Spoilers ahead, yes. So the story is that this girl falls in love with this guy, Jesse. I forget the girl. I can never remember main characters' names, but
same.
The girl, Emma, I think is her name. I'll go with that. Emma.
Literally, how did you forget that?
I don't know.
That is our best friend's name.
That's what made me remember it. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember it. I thought this was going to be easy to remember. Okay, so Emma falls in love with Jesse in high school, and they date for 7 years, and the whole premise is kind of that she is the daughter of two booksellers in this small town in the northeastern US, and her parents, her whole life, want her to grow up and take over the bookstore, and she hates reading, and she is like, I'm not going to do that. I want to go to California. I want to travel. And he is the star of the swim team and basically potentially could go to the Olympics, but he confesses to her that he hates swimming. And his parents are kind of pressuring him to do the swim thing. So they kind of come together and encourage each other to branch out. And they move to California. They fall in love. They are in love. They move to California together. They end up getting married. And almost exactly a year after they get married, he becomes a travel videographer. And he goes to do this job in a helicopter. And the helicopter crashes. And his body's never found, but he's presumed dead. And so then...
This is doing a lot.
It's a lot. And so that's strike one, I think, is because the whole kind of first half of the book is written from a high schooler's perspective, a lot of it. And I don't think that is TJR's strong suit. It did not, to me, feel like high school. Like we read a wide variety of books. I've read other books that are through the perspective of either children or high schoolers. And this just felt not great writing in that part. And so that's strike one. Then he dies, you think, and well, you know from the very first page that he didn't actually die. So that's kind of the twist. But that happens in the beginning. A couple years pass, she ends up falling in love with someone else, Sam, And they were kind of friends in high school. He asked her out at one point when they were in high school, but she said no. And so then they grow up, they reconnect, and she moves back to her small town. She ends up taking over the bookstore. She finds that she actually loves it.
Of course. It's Chekhov's bookstore. The bookstore can't exist unless she takes over it.
Exactly. And she ends up falling back in love within a couple years, which I think may have been too soon, but that's just my opinion. So it's pretty quick. She falls back in love with him. They end up getting engaged. And then Jesse is found. He has swam. He was on a remote island essentially forever. And then he was the swimmer. So again, the swimming thing. He swam to find a boat basically in the middle of the ocean. So who knows how that happened. I'm not sure that any of that's believable. But he is alive. And so he comes back to town and he's basically like, no, we're still married. I don't understand. Like, you're not getting married to someone else. And so the book is her choosing. Does she go back to her first love or does she stay with the new guy? And I hate this trope. I hate it so much. I hate it.
I was just about to say, I hate this.
And the only way I like it is if they end up with the person they loved first. Because I just don't find it realistic. And that's why I didn't like this book number 2. She ends up staying with the new guy.
Oh, come on.
It's like we've both changed so much. And I'm like, this guy just survived for 2 years. I do not think within 3 days this kind of decision should be made. He needs to go to therapy. He needs to recover. I think it was just not... No. And at the end, he's like, I found love with someone else and I understand now. It doesn't negate how I felt for you back then, but it's a different kind of love. And I'm like, no, I just can't imagine that. And I don't know if maybe you feel the same way, but as someone who is married to someone I have loved for a very long time, if he came back, if he died, I don't think 2 years would be enough to be like, I can so easily just be like, oh, we've changed so much. I don't understand that. And you were married to him. It's not like...
Yeah, I just
hate that trope. So it was just not for me.
I mean, you can't never know until you're in that position, but honestly, I don't like that either. So
I just don't like the idea of like, I don't know. I just don't know why I hate it so much, but I just feel like it's so baffling to me how she was with Jesse for 7 years. It wasn't just 1 year of marriage. You know, they were together for 7 years. And then she had been with this new guy, Sam, for like a year. I just don't understand how that is so... To me, it was such a nice and tidy tie-up. And I think if it happened in real life, it would not be that easy or simple. It would be a lot more drawn out and a lot more difficult.
Okay, so I'm gonna challenge this really quick because I'm trying to think of other books. So similar but different a little bit. The Notebook.
Yeah.
And Allie chooses obviously Noah at the end,
right?
But she's engaged to the other guy.
Yes.
You think Noah's the right choice?
Yes.
Yeah, because you always got to go with your first.
Because I'm traumatized. Because when I was a kid, I read, and one day we're going to talk about these books because I am literally traumatized by them. Karen Kingsbury.
I knew you were about to say that. Oh my God.
She wrote a series where, first of all, Karen Kingsbury, it's kind of genius, but she does this thing where she'll have like a trilogy of books about kind of one character, but there's a lot of side characters. And then the trilogy, there'll be another trilogy that'll be mostly about the side character, but it'll have all the other characters in it. So you have to read like 10 books to get to the end of this conclusion. So I did that. And this girl had 2 loves and it was the same thing. Yes.
I put in the time.
Yes. So it was the same exact thing. And I feel like that was a canon event for me as a child.
Cannot interfere.
Yes.
A canon event.
Yes. And so that happened and she chose the new guy instead of the guy that I thought had been heavily foreshadowed. Like, it felt like rewriting history, whatever. And a lot of people accuse Karen, the tea, is that the character was based on her daughter. And her daughter had kind of a similar situation, and she ended up with the new guy. And so that's why she wrote it that way.
That is tea.
So anyways, it just didn't feel earned. And so I feel like ever since then, when I see this trope come up, I'm just triggered back to that childhood self who was so mad about that. I mean, it genuinely scarred me. So yeah, I feel like my bias got in the way of me liking this book, but also I didn't really enjoy it. I just don't think it's her strongest book. I don't
Okay,
think this is her vibe, you know?
We
Stick
love
to things that are different.
We love TJR, but
Not for this.
Skip this one.
Yeah.
I feel like her thing is more historical fiction, complex families.
Yes, I think she sticks with that.
That's
And
more
this had
complex groups of
you
people.
can definitely see the origins of some of that. There is a family sister side plot. Like there's all of those things in there, but I don't think a straight romance is her genre, and I think that's fine. Like it needs to be a little more complicated for me.
Look, a lot of people can do straight romance. Not a lot of people can do historical fiction with complex families.
Absolutely. So stick to that.
Stick to what you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any other books you wanted to talk about?
I have 2 more.
Okay.
But I don't have to talk about them.
No, go for it.
Okay. I've just been reading so much lately. I'm back on it.
I'm happy for you.
I'm going to be quick on these. I don't feel as passionately. These 2, okay, everyone in my family has killed someone. I'm going to give that a 10 out of 10. If you like mysteries.
Really?
It is so good. I listened to the audiobook and there's several like fourth wall breaks in this book. And I think they must have rewritten it for the audiobook, I'm assuming, because there were some parts where it's like, okay, that's going to happen in 5 minutes, you know, or unless you're listening to this at 2 times speed or whatever.
Oh,
and
cute.
It would be like, well, you bought this audiobook, so you knew what you were getting into, kind of things. So I imagine in the book it's similar, but, you know, written for a book instead of audiobook. But
is it a cozy or is it scary?
It's
or like
not scary.
suspenseful?
It's really funny. So the author actually has a history or a background in stand-up comedy. So it's a really funny book. I didn't realize that till after I read it. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense because it was genuinely laugh out loud funny. There is a serial killer involved, but it's not super scary. It's way more funny. It's definitely tense at times. Like there's sometimes where you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? But it's not too scary. It's more on the cozy side, I would say. It takes place at this winter resort. They're snowed in. You know, they can't get off the mountain. But it's a family reunion. It's a complicated family. All of them have killed someone, which is revealed, you know, how slowly throughout the book. So the ending made me actually gasp out loud. I was doing dishes listening to it, and when the twist, you know, answer was revealed, I genuinely gasped. So
oh my gosh, I
have
to listen to it now.
It was really good. And then the last one is The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry, which is by Gabrielle Zevin, who also wrote one of my faves of this year, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. This is like the palate cleanser book you should read after reading Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, because that book is so sad. This book is a lot. It still has sad elements, so it's not totally free of that, but it is really short. It's like 250 pages. It's about a really grumpy, widowed bookstore owner named A.J. Fikry, who one day a toddler is abandoned in his store with a note that says, you know, I want her to grow up to love to read, so I'm leaving her here. And he ends up adopting her. There's a love story. There's complicated. What I love about Gabrielle Zevin is, from reading these 2 books, every single side character has a full, rich background, and I love that. So even the characters you think, oh, this character's only going to be in here for 1 page or 2 pages, they end up coming back. They have a great backstory, and so there's a great cast of characters. It's really sweet, and it's kind of an homage. Like every chapter, in between every chapter, there's a little note from A.J. Fikry to this young toddler explaining about a different short story that he loves, because he loves short stories. So it's kind of this like ode to short stories. And I thought that was really nice because it kind of reads like a short story. I mean, it's longer. Obviously, it's a full-length book, but it is kind of short. And it just, you know, I thought it could have been longer. It could have fleshed out a couple of different storylines, but I just thought it was
That's
really
always better
nice
than being
book.
like, this was too long.
Yes,
could have been
absolutely.
shorter. I'd always pick that.
Amen. So it's just a really sweet, I think, kind of palate cleanser book, but it is there's still sad stuff in it. So don't get me wrong, but it's really, really sweet and like kind of quirky and, you know, small town bookstore family kind of vibe. So I really liked this one. That was my last book. I'm done talking about all the books I've read lately. So
I love that. I love that for you, that you read a really crappy romance and now you are back in.
I'm back on it.
That's great.
Thank you.
So DNFs, I had a couple of did not finishes, unfortunately, recently. I think it was maybe not necessarily the book, but the time and place.
Yeah.
So I read a couple thrillers. First, The It Girl by Ruth Ware. So I like Ruth Ware as a thriller writer. She's like a British thriller suspense writer. But The It Girl was so stupidly long for no reason. I guessed the twist.
Oh, I hate that.
And I guessed it like the first third.
Oh, that's even worse.
I quit and I was listening to this book on audio and reading. So I was like alternating. I was like, I'm going to get through this. And I quit like 2/3 of the way through because I was just like, I don't like, it's so long for no reason. There's so many details we don't need. So I just wouldn't recommend that one. It just, for me, it just wasn't it. I just thought it was way, way, way too long. And then, unfortunately, I did not finish a Gillian Flynn book, Dark Places. Have you ever read Dark Places?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Did you like it?
I did, but it definitely is, you have to be in the right. Like, I was on a Gillian Flynn streak, so I read all of her books back to back. So yes. I was in that mindset, but yeah, if you're not in the right mood for her.
I don't think it's the book. I think it was like, I was not in the place to read a very dark. And when I say dark,
extremely.
I mean extremely dark. Like
like if you know Gone Girl is definitely the lightest of her books.
Yeah.
Like it's the most chill. The rest are very, very dark.
This was very like there was really no break from it. And I was just like, this was like at the same time I'm reading like Bridgerton. And I'm like, I just think that I'm more into like a Bridgerton vibe right now.
Especially this summer. That's not
I know.
Vibe.
So I'm gonna come back to this one maybe. Actually, I'm not because I did Google the end. I just remember that. So I don't think that I don't think it's a bad book. I just think it wasn't for me. And our classic advice, if a book is not for you and you're not enjoying it, please do not finish it and just move on.
Or put it to the side, Just
or just
to it.
Come back to it for later. But like, it should be fun. Like reading should never be a chore unless it's for like school or something.
I agree.
Did you have any did not finish recently?
Really, I don't think this really counts, but I started actually the book Rebecca. I don't remember who it's by, but people were saying it's similar to Verity. So I was going to read it to maybe talk about in our Colleen Hoover episode, but honestly, it was the same thing. I started it. It's probably really good, but I got like 5 pages in. I'm like, this is just not where I'm at right now.
This is just not for me at the moment.
No. And then I'm also trying to read this book, The 30 Names of Night. I've been trying to read it all year so far, but I just know it's going to be a bummer. And it's actually, I talked about it in our very beginning of the year episode because it's part of the Storygraphs Read Around the World Challenge.
Yeah.
So if you can go back to listen to that, I talked about it a little more. The writing is so beautiful. That's the other part. It's one of those books where you're like, I have to read every word because the writing is so good. I've gotten several chapters in, but it's so sad already. I know it's going to be a bummer. So I'm kind of waiting till I'm in that right headspace. It's a pretty short book, so I imagine it won't take me too long to get through, and it's so good. It's just, I've kind of had to put it to the side. Like you're saying, it's just not the time right now, but
it's not necessarily an indictment on the book.
Yeah. So it's just not right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I get that. So, all right. So now we're at the part of the show where we talk about new releases or upcoming releases, and I have a few that for me I have on hold at the library because they're not an automatic buy for me.
Yes.
I'm not ready to totally commit, but I will read. So the first one is Hello Stranger by Catherine Center. Mm-hmm. We are big fans of The Bodyguard.
Yes. Catherine
Center's first book, I think. Maybe it's not her first, but
I don't think it is, but I think it's definitely her first big successful book. Yeah.
Yeah. So we read that last summer. That was released last summer, I think. It was great. Delightful. Loved it. And the reason this is not an automatic buy for me, since I love The Bodyguard so much, was because I read the little blurb about the book and I have a few fears. So I'm just going to read that out. I'm going to read the blurb for everybody. And then we can discuss the red flags. Okay. Sadie Montgomery is a struggling artist who just needs one lucky break. Landing a spot in a portrait competition, she thinks things may finally be going her way. But the competition lands on the same day of a surgery she must have. Sadie is reassured that the surgery is minor and that she'll be unscathed. But while she's in recovery, she discovers that she can no longer see faces. When she takes her dog to the vet, she meets Dr. Addison, who wants to take her on a date, but she's determined to keep her face blindness a secret. As she also develops a friendship with her obnoxious neighbor Joe, she soon finds herself falling for two guys while she faces losing her career as an artist and confronting her haunting past.
I'm going to call it right now. Dr. Addison and Joe are the same person. I feel so confident in that. I am willing to bet $1 million I don't have that they are the same person. Due to her face blindness, she doesn't know.
Right. And this is the problem. First of all, face blindness. This is one of those things that I'm sure is real, but I'm also sure that Catherine Center does not have a lot of knowledge about. I'm afraid that this is just going to be really weird. Mm-hmm. And
why is she trying to keep her face blindness a secret from her surgeon? I guess Dr. Addison's the vet. Sorry, I get confused with the doctor.
Why is she trying to keep it a secret at all?
She still should probably tell the doctors, like, hey, you guys kind of messed up my, like, I'm going to lose my career. That seems like a malpractice situation. She has bigger things to worry about than her obnoxious neighbor, Joe, who, again, is Dr. Addison confidently confirmed.
100%. Because guess what? We don't know the doctor's first name. His name is Joe.
Dead giveaway. So, as an avid Clue player, I am very good at putting together.
Here's the thing. I will still read this.
Yes.
Because I did love The Bodyguard so much that I have hope that this is going to be funny and great just like that. But I am skeptical and I won't be purchasing it.
Yes.
I will be reading it on borrow.
Yes.
Okay. Next book I'm skeptical about. 0 Days by Ruth Ware. So we talked about this. I enjoyed her book In a Dark, Dark Wood and The Woman in Cabin 10. Mm-hmm. But I DNF'd The It Girl. And as I just talked about, and the reviews for this one are middle of the road. So I'm a little nervous, but I'll read the synopsis. Hired by companies to break into buildings and hack security systems, Jack and her husband Gabe are the best penetration specialists.
I'm sorry. What kind of please? Who wrote this synopsis? Fired. Instantly fired.
Gabe? Okay. Jack and her husband Gabe are the best penetration specialists in the business, but after a routine assignment goes horribly wrong, Jack arrives home to find her husband dead.
No.
To add to her horror, the police are closing in on their suspect, her. Suddenly on the run and quickly running out of options, Jack must decide who she can trust as she circles closer to the real killer in this unput-downable and heart-pounding mystery.
I'm sorry. I can't get past penetration.
I think they lost me a penetration specialist. It could be really good, but I don't know. The preliminary reviews are middle of the road, so skeptical. And last but not least, Love Theoretically by Allie Hazelwood, which just recently released, and I will be borrowing a used copy of from my friend Rihanna.
Nice.
So we did a book club episode on Love on the Brain last year.
Correct.
Her second book. We both loved her first book. And this is fake dating again, which has me intrigued. But I'm also worried that Allie Hazelwood might be a one-trick pony. So yes. I will read the synopsis of this one, and then we can discuss what our instincts are. The many lives of theoretical physicist Elsie Hanaway have finally caught up with her. But by day, she's an adjunct professor toiling away at grading labs and teaching thermodynamics in hopes of landing tenure. By other day, Elsie makes up for her non-existent paycheck by offering her services as a fake girlfriend, tapping into her expertly honed people-pleasing skills to embody whichever version of herself the client needs. Honestly, it's a pretty sweet gig until her carefully constructed Elsieverse comes crashing down because Jack Smith, the annoyingly attractive and broody older brother of her favorite client, turns out to be the cold-hearted experimental physicist who ruined her mentor's career and undermined the reputation of theorists everywhere.
Classic.
And that same Jack, who now sits on her hiring committee at MIT, right between Elsie and her dream job. Elsie is preparing for an all-out war of scholarly sabotage, but those long penetrating... Why are they using the word penetrating so much? Okay. Oh my God, you guys have to stop. Those long. Why?
Is this like the interns are having some kind of inside joke, and that's like,
excuse me,
how many ways can we fit this into these synopses? Okay, continue.
So those long penetrating looks, not having to be anything other than her true self when she's with him, will falling into an experimentalist orbit finally tempt her to put her most guarded theories on love into practice?
Okay, let me guess. He loves her, but he's penetrating her with his looks because he's like, you're my brother's girlfriend. And then she's gonna be like, no, I'm not. He hired me. And he's gonna be like, I loved you this whole time. And she's gonna be like, I thought you hated me. And that's gonna be what's gonna happen.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But it's probably going to be good. What can we say?
Well, yeah, it still might be like really fun to read, like just because we basically that's the point of reading books like that is because you know how they're going to go.
Exactly.
So we'll give it a shot. A little skeptical, but yeah. So we'll borrow but not buy. What about you?
Really, I just I'm trying not to buy books at all. So I'm actually very confident that these two are going to be really good. They're both recently released. They're both already out. But I just really do not. I'm looking right now at the stacks of books on the floor because my bookshelves are completely out of room and I can't keep buying books right now.
Yes. So I am really excited for your first one you're going to talk about because I've seen a lot of hype about this one.
Me too. So the first one is, and I apologize if I mispronounce his last name, but it's Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. And so basically there's a white author and an Asian author, and they're both really good friends. But the Asian female author, she is kind of facing this success. She's doing really well. And the white woman author is not having as much success. And so when she witnesses I need to get their names because, the white woman witnesses her friend's death in a freak accident and decides to essentially steal the manuscript that she was working on, change her own name to match. I assume it's about, having an Asian identity, something like that.
Oh my God.
And so she changes her name to match that, identity, and she submits it as her own. And then, of course, I'm sure bad things are going to happen because of that. It reminds me a lot of The Plot. Have you ever read that?
I have not.
I really like this book. It doesn't have the racial element, but it is about a writing teacher who had this incredible first book that was a huge success and has been subsequently trying to chase that same amount of fame, has been failing. He's no longer able to sell a manuscript when one of his students brings him this idea for a book, and he is like, that's the best thing I've ever heard in my life. And the student dies in a tragic accident, and he steals the student's plot as his own, and kind of things happen after that. So it reminds me, similar idea, but obviously there is that racial element, which I think is going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
So I've heard a lot of good things about this one, so it's on hold. I think I have a couple more weeks to wait, but I'm really looking forward to reading it.
Yeah, tell me how it is, because I have seen a lot of, like, my algorithm has been serving this to me.
Yes.
Some other things I like, so I would be really interested in that.
And then the second one is The Ferryman by Justin Cronin. It just came out in May. It's set in sort of a dystopian future. I'm so excited to see dystopian kind of coming back as we love.
As life starts to get less dystopian.
Yes.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Knock on wood.
As submarines implode underwater. I want the dystopians to come back. So in this world, people are on this island and they are kind of secured from the outside world, which is crumbling away, apparently, allegedly. And people are living really happy, healthy lives until they have these arm monitors that tell them when their health drops below 10%, and then they have to go be renewed. So this story follows the ferryman who transports these, I guess, old people to this other island to be renewed. Their bodies are restored, their memories are wiped, and they come back to start over. But everything is not what it seems, and the ferryman slowly starts to uncover secrets. And so I'm really excited to read this. I love a dystopian. I think everything about this sounds really exciting. So, I love a place where it's like everything is perfect here, but then it's really not actually perfect.
It's like a Black Mirror episode.
Yes, it sounds like very Black Mirror-ish. So I'm excited for both of these to come in. They're both new releases, and I know they're both going to be good. If I was on my buying life, I would buy both of these, but I'm trying not to buy books right now.
Yeah, you just can't, because you'll just never get to them.
Yeah,
that's the
that
thing.
too.
It's like
That
the
too.
money you spend on them, but like also you'll never get to them. So
Yes, I have a huge stack of physical books by my bed right now that I don't know when I will be able to read because I keep getting holds, which is nothing wrong with that. So,
me too. My holds have been going off like crazy.
yeah. So, that's it.
Awesome. So it sounds like we're both like doing pretty well on our goals. We're on our summer reading journeys.
Yes.
Very excited about that.
Amen. And I hope to be able to read some of these by the beach one day, soon.
Aspirational. I'm going to the beach next weekend.
Good for you. Have a great time.
All right. Catch you guys later.
Bye.